Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this edition of the Enquiry. And today we're really excited to have Bill Harris from ITC Vegas. Welcome, Bill.
Hey, thank you so much. It's great to be here. I appreciate the invitation.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you here because, you know, a lot of people want to know what's going to happen at ITC Vegas to get really prepared, to make sure they have the tennis shoes, to make sure they know what is going to happen from an educational viewpoint, but also from a fun viewpoint. So what we are going to do is really dive into InsureTech Connect 2023, the mega for everyone and everybody in insurance tech and understanding the game of insurance. And what we are going to do is our Chief Startup Curation Officer, Matt Ferguson from snør, will actually help us understand better what's going to happen at ITC. And our Chief Finance Officer, to make everything balance out, Lisa Wardlaw, will also question our dear Bill Harris. The key thing, Bill, is we want to talk about some of the key topics you are bringing at ITC. Sure. We know there's going to be a lot around AI. There's going to be a lot around cyber, but also there are going to be some sustainability talks, right? Yeah. So everyone may want to keep a notepad and whatever to use ready because we are going to pull Sherlock Holmes into the future of insurance tech. And so I'm passing the baton over to Monsieur Matt Ferguson to actually start questioning you, Monsieur Bill Harris.
Bill, we'll try and make it a painless experience, at least to start with, right? I'll go easy and we'll go from there. But I guess every success story also has an origin story, right? So I don't know, maybe could you walk us through, you know, InsureTech Connect's pretty well known now of size and scale, but maybe not always so. How has it evolved into what it is today?
Yeah, so it's an interesting origin story. I told it on the main stage last year, but briefly, Caribou Honig had the idea for InsureTech Connect. Caribou is a VC investor. At the time, he was with QED, and he was doing a lot of fintech investment in the past. He's formerly Capital One and formed QED with the former CEO of Capital One, Nigel Morris. Long story short, Caribou wanted to have an InsureTech event, kind of like what he saw in fintech and like Money 2020 and what have you. And he contacted Jay Weintraub, who I went back, 25 years or so with. Jay and I worked together in digital marketing for advertising.com. I used to run media buying there. Jay and I kept in touch. Jay left advertising.com and basically started up an event because he was a big, like, nuanced nerd. God bless him. He wanted to talk about strategy, lead generation. And he was like, I'm going to start an event. And I said, okay, which became very successful. And that's how Jay started that career. So fast forward, Jay calls me up and he's like, I'm a COO of a fintech company at the time, doing outsource accounts payable and inventory management for major U.S. retailers, Kroger, CVS, Barnes & Noble, et cetera. Jay calls me up and he says, hey, man, I'm going to start this InsureTech event with a guy named Caribou. And I said, hold on. I know a guy named Caribou. I went to university with a guy named Caribou. He's a little bit ahead of me, but he lived in the same dorm as my buddy from my hometown. And I was like, he's a VC, right? And Jay said, yeah. And I was like, this is just too much. Like, I'm a big believer in karma and how, just the world works in mysterious ways. So my old friend calls me up about this other guy, and they're going to start this thing. And I knew Jay was super successful, Caribou was super successful. And I said, this is going to be awesome. And it was a good time for me to make a change. So we started off literally like working out in Panera, trying to figure out, what's the plan. Caribou had the vision. We basically, it was like a back of a napkin kind of thing in Panera. And we scaled this thing. I knew nothing about events, right? We started this in March of 2016. And Jay was like, oh, we're going to have the event in September. And I was like, oh, okay. That gives us a lot of time. Like, now when I think about it, that makes my heart, palpitate just thinking about it now. Right? That's how we started. Caribou had the vision. He was like, it has to be about connections. It's about, he wanted deal flow for himself, selfishly, right? And for other venture capitalist, but he was like, this ecosystem is going to explode. This InsureTech thing is going to be nuts because, there's so much like analog legacy stuff happening in insurance. There's massive transformation and digitization that's going to happen, and technology will really benefit the carriers and reinsurers first and foremost. It's going to transform the way brokers do business. There were some predictions about agents, which didn't, actually take place, as we found, now 8 years later, the agent an even more vital part of the process in a lot of ways, just because of the complexity. Caribou wanted to get the investors, the incumbents, and in the InsureTechs, the startups who had all this technology together in one place to really bolster the ecosystem. And when you think about insurance, insurance undergirds everything that happens, right? In the developed world, really, you can't do anything without insurance. So it was such a great, idea that Caribou had, and we see it's just been, vertical. It's been a hockey stick kind of growth since.
Yeah.
I only have to say, before your next question, Matt, I only have to say I'm disappointed that happened at a Panera and not at a Caribou Coffee. Sorry.
There weren't any. I don't know if there were any.
Okay, back to you, Matt.
Richmond, right? Yeah, like literally, I would pick up Jay from the airport. We would drive down to Richmond, meet Caribou at, and when I drive now down south, down 95, like I stop there and I always like give homage.
It's like your place, right?
Out there, like,
the amount of financial information I have overheard at Panera. I mean, let's just say, let's all hope they don't have like any form of like Alexa or listening devices installed in those facilities. Back to you, Matt.
Well, maybe it's a good segue actually, because we talk about the business, but you've had a front row seat at all of this, right, Bill? Right from the inception, and
absolutely,
there's in no small part is that success linked to yourself. And so what? That's two questions. One is if I can ask this, and I'm going to ask it anyway, and let's hope that you don't mind. But what are the most significant changes you've noticed in yourself over that time? You sound like you've been on quite a journey.
Yeah, it has been a massive journey. Gosh, I've gotten older. It's funny because when I first came to the first ITC, I was like, wow, like I'm one of the young heads here. Like it's fairly, the insurance industry, the insurance business, the average like broker is like a 60-year-old guy or whatever. And it's really changed because I started off being like one of the younger folks and one of the very few people of color at the event. And now, I'm one of the older folks. And it's amazing how events in general have also changed because the event has gotten a lot younger. We're seeing far more women, much more gender balance, right? And particularly that's something we take very seriously with our stages. You guys know Rothio Sariegi. She's our global content director. Bianca Duck's our executive producer. They kind of handle content. But we've been very much deliberate and, intentional about making sure that our stages represent our audience and the industry in general, right? So we're seeing a much younger demographic in our audience. We're seeing a much more female demographic, still not enough, but much more. And also we're seeing a lot more people of color. It was basically me and Sabine. Like me and Sabine, met up and I was like, hey, like, what's up? But now, I started the Black Founders Reception. We're doing that again this year on Wednesday, November 1st this year. But it was beautiful. It made my heart full to see. We had about 50 founders last year. Appear 50 Black founders, whereas there were the first year there were a couple. It was Tim Atia basically from Slice, and Sabine from with Startup Bootcamp. So we've seen a lot of change, but I've changed. I've learned to relax a little bit more because also our team has grown as the event has grown. We have a lot more people now. They're handling things in the event, and I can't, even as the event director, I can't just have my finger in everything. There's just way too much with an event of our size. So I just have to, I've got to meditate and just let go and let things happen. And I kind of think of myself, if you guys remember from the Chicago Bulls, Phil Jackson was the coach. He was like the Zen coach. And I kind of think of myself, I've got Jordan, I've got Pippen, I've got Rothio and Josh Grossman, and all these superstars on my team. And I'm like, okay, you guys are going to take the shot. I have full confidence in you, and we're going to win because we're well prepared and we have the best players on our team in the world. So, and the best partners also, folks like you. So,
very kind, very kind. No, that's cool. And so, second part of that then is, look, you've alluded to this a little bit as well, but what can people expect when we land in Vegas? Because it's coming up soon, right? Well, 7 weeks.
Soon. Yeah, I think we're 48 days away or so. If my counter's right. But yeah, we're less than 7 weeks. It's going to be fantastic. I mean, if you've been to ITC Vegas, it's going to be a lot more of what you've come to expect and love. We don't tweak the formula too much. It's about connections first and foremost, right? The people are our product. We take great pride in the fact that we think we have the greatest assembly of people, of decision makers, stakeholders, the greatest audience in insurance. We are the world's largest gathering of insurance innovation, not just InsureTech. It's insurance, and the insurers, the carriers, the reinsurers, the brokers are all a massive part of this community. The solutions providers as well. So, we really pride ourselves on having that great audience. Virtually 40+%, 40 to 45% of our audience is going to be those key buyers, those decision makers, carriers, reinsurers, brokers who are buying the technology, right? Another 15 to 20% are the InsureTech startups. We're going to have almost 600 InsureTech startups.
600?
600 companies, yes.
Bravo. Yeah.
And we'll have, the Forward 50 kickoff with Sonar. Matt's company, Sonar, is the profile, the top InsureTechs. We've partnered with Sonar because their data is fantastic. But we're starting with connections. The very center of our exhibit hall is our one-to-one meeting zone. We take the primest real estate of our entire event and dedicate it to meetings. We're looking to have 10,000 plus meetings again this year. The app is coming out very soon. So again, the engagement is crucial. But on top of that, so you're going to see, InsureTech Connect, we always say it's kind of a little bit of a mix between like the Super Bowl and homecoming. If you're like college or high school, homecoming was like the big game, it's kind of like that because you see so many people that and that you've done business with or you aspire to do business with. They're all there, right? All the thought leaders that you see on LinkedIn or you're reading about in articles, they're there on our stage. Yeah. Just great activations and experiences. Our partners, our sponsors, they're doing very, very cool things in the expo hall. The expo hall is going to be massive. There's a lot of things happening. We're going to have 3 stages in our expo hall: a demo stage, a LATAM experience is going to have a stage. We're also going to unveil new this year, the ITCX Meetup Series stage. So it's a little bit of an opportunity to not really have like a panel kind of discussion, but more of a Q&A, more interactive, where the audience can get together, experience the speakers. And after the speaker does, 20, 30, 40 minutes of content, have a little bit of time to meet and talk about it. The audience can say like, hey, this is really cool. So we've got some great things coming on that ITCX meetup stage. KPMG is going to do something there. Vermeg is going to do something there. There are a few other folks that will be on that meetup stage as well. It's going to be really, really cool, and that's something new. So, we're starting off. It's Halloween, so we're starting off with a great Halloween party.
Nice.
Bring your costumes. No masks in Vegas. The casino stuff. The no mask, but bring a cool costume. Have an awesome party at the House of Blues to kick off, and then at the end, we like to do big. We're going to have another fantastic musical experience to end the show on Thursday.
I've only just recovered from the last one, Bill.
The last was UB40. This year, we're going to have an iconic band, one of the biggest bands in R&B, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, wow.
Rock the house.
Yeah. And we still dance on the beach.
We're dancing on the beach, Mandalay Bay Beach. It's quite the experience. So it's the connections. It's the experience, it's the content, it's the expo hall. I haven't even started with the content, but gosh, you know, we start off the first day with content, with our kickoff day. You know, Sabine, you guys will be there with awesome content. Like I said, Matt will do the Sonar ITC Forward 50 series. We have BrokerTech Connect with our friends at BrokerTech Ventures, talking about all the changes in broker technology. Group Tech Connect with the folks at Fineos, looking at employee benefits and the life space. They're going to have an awesome schedule of things again. Capacity Connect, which was new last year with our friends at Steer, for the MGAs looking for capacity, as well as the carriers who are looking for distribution. We found that to be a great place to connect folks. Surify is back with their life insurance ecosystem. Viewpoint Ventures with their Corp Dev strategy summit this year.
I said, Bill, I was gonna go easy on you, but and then immediately threw you under the bus by going, just give us a 50 summary of 3 days and like 10,000 plus people, right?
What everybody has failed to mention is that it's a good thing they pump oxygen into the casinos, so that's how we keep going for the entire 3 days. No, I'm joking.
And bring your comfortable shoes, because hear me now, believe me later, you will absolutely do like a 10K. You're going to do 10K in terms of steps, at least. It's more like 20,000 steps, but bring comfortable shoes. Do not wear heels if you're, please, because you're going to get your steps in. There's so much.
Let's go into content, right? And there is, I know you for a long time. I met you in, I guess, 2016. And today, ITC Vegas and the ITC set of events owned by an amazing, organization.
Yeah.
So I would love for you to talk about what that means, because I get the question a lot, what that means being one of the many amongst, the client group. And how do you drive a unique experience for C-level executives, but also for other decision makers and the founders of the startups as well? And please, tell us a little bit more about content, the big themes that we are going to hear about at ITC Vegas, and maybe a little bit about Gary Vee too.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. What a catch. Wow. Where to start? But I guess that was a big question. So in terms of like being part of Clarion, Jay and Caribou and I, the original founders of the event, we sold the event back a couple of years ago to Clarion Events, which is one of the top events companies worldwide. We're based in London. We've got an office in Singapore, so hence the ITC Asia brand launched out in Singapore. We had ITC DIA Europe. We purchased the digital insurance agenda DIA and had our first kind of co-branded show this year in Barcelona, which was absolutely amazing. Saw you guys there. But it's nice to have a bigger corporate partner with deeper pockets. Like when we started ITC, it was, Jay, Caribou, myself, a couple other people. We were basically like, 5-6 people when we started ITC. And now to have the global reach of Clarion, plus Clarion's backed by Blackstone, $1 trillion private equity business. It's nice to be able to say, okay, we're looking to do this or do that, and have, frankly, some deep pockets to help us with our growth and expansion. So it's been a wonderful, marriage between ITC and Clarion and Blackstone. We've had massive support, and it's really helped to fuel our international growth, this year. So that's been great to see, since it was, again, Jay and Caribou's vision. I've been able to execute a lot of it while they've played, more advisory roles in more recent years. But so that's been great. Thank you for asking for that. We've had great support from Clarion. Then, gosh, in terms of content and some of the other things, like, we know that, and I'll also get to the executives, in a conference and event, like, people get so excited to see each other and connect, but there's so much learning happening, especially in the InsureTech and insurance space that is just rapidly developing and transforming, before our eyes, really. So we're thrilled to, again, I got to give kudos to my partner, Rufio Sariegi, who's done a wonderful job, keeping the content fresh, keeping it a little bit different from some of the other shows. We have some fantastic CEOs who are joining us this year. We're going to start off I mentioned the kickoff day, start off, and it's just chock-a-block full of some amazing long format content, right? Which is why we do that kickoff day. It's usually 4 to 5 hour sessions. Some of them run kind of all day. So you really get a chance to kind of come in and out and see a lot of different things that are happening. So that's really cool because no other event really does anything like that has that long format content. So that's really been something that people told us, like, we want more of that. So we listen. We're giving you more of that. Then the first main day, which is Wednesday, November 2nd. So after the Halloween, craziness happens in Vegas, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be nuts. November 1st, Wednesday, November 1st, we are going to have Gary Vee kick us off. Gary Vee has, millions and millions of social media followers on every platform, angel entrepreneur. He's really, going to talk to us about like how to, number one, expand your brand and growth hack, your brand. How do you reach people that you're trying to, engage with, sell a solution to, or whatever? There's really no one better than him. He understands how to get people's attention, right? That's what he does. He says he day trades attention. So I'm really excited to see that our partners at McKinsey, we're supported by our presenting sponsor, McKinsey. They're going to do a few things with us on the main stage. They are bringing the CEO of Sun Life, Kevin Strain, to talk a little bit about life insurance. We're doing a lot of life insurance. I'll put a pin in life insurance.
Okay.
Also on day one, we also have, after Gary Vee, we're going to have the premier of Bermuda, E. David Burt. And he's going to be talking about what they're doing in Bermuda, the Bermuda regulatory sandbox. And I think also he's going to probably address climate change. Like Hurricane Lee just, went past Bermuda. It's about to hit Boston. My daughter's up in Boston. Like, what do I do? Like, they're going to have a hurricane in Boston. It's so strange. And that's where you see that climate change, really, it's now every day. It's in the headlines from, what's happening in, wildfires to what's happening in, Libya now, the hurricane.
It's everywhere. Wildfire to
every day. It's the headline now.
Absolutely.
Weather events and catastrophic weather. So I'm excited to hear what David Burt has to say. And then on the second day, we're really focused a lot on life and health this year, particularly on the life insurance side. So we're going to have the CEO of, like I said, Sun Life, Kevin Strain. We're going to have the CEO of John Hancock, Brooks Tingle. So we have a new life and health track.
Good.
As well. So we're going to do some deeper dives on that life and health theme. One thing that's interesting, I think, behavioral science. We have a session on behavioral science, which is going to be Dorothy Kilroy, who's the chief commercial officer from Aura, the ring company. Tracks your biometrics, right? You've got one, yep. And Lindsay Hansen, who's the CMO of John Hancock, they're going to do a great session. Again, two females on stage together, right? You really don't see that in a lot of insurance companies. You'll see that throughout a lot of our sessions where, again, we have that gender and diversity happening real time. So really excited about that session. That's going to be great. Some other cool sessions, like in the hot seat of an InsureTech CEO. We have Jacqueline Lesage from Unique Ventures, with Jennifer Fitzgerald of Policy Genius, Angus McDonald from Cover Genius. They're doing everything in embedded insurance. Every time I read something, they've got every time I look at LinkedIn, there's a new partnership. Gary Hoberman, CEO of Uncork, the no-code, low-code solution. Eduardo Della Magoria from Betterfly, one of our LATAM partners.
Awesome.
Really.
But I think it's very important, Bill, as you said, people need to be there on the 30th of October. We have amazing events starting on the 31st of October. And then the conference starts on the 1st and 2nd. Right. And I'm also very honored to actually put a little bit of a show for you as well with Matt and Lisa, where we are going to harmonize sustainability in commercial lines on one side and life and health, looking at longevity and aging. So we hope people are going to come, which takes me to my next question around ROI. Bill, we've often been asked, because I sit in Europe with Matt, and we are often asked about what is the ROI of ITC Vegas, for us coming from overseas? Can you give a little bit of a lens as to why people need to be there?
Yeah, absolutely. And for everyone that's listening now, and for the folks even from overseas, I want to just promote real quick. If you haven't registered yet for new registrations, I want you guys to write this down. It's a special code that the Alchemy crew and Sabine have. It's 1595 1595 ITC 101. So 1595 ITC 101 for a special 1595 rate. Again, new registrations only. If you bought yours already, thank you very much. If you haven't, a little bit of extra incentive to come join us. But in terms of the ROI, look, just repeating what people have told me. People say to me, wow, this experience has been overwhelming because everyone I've wanted to see in the last year is here. Like I've been able to do essentially like, it's almost like, how Amazon's transformed Christmas shopping. Remember you used to go like from department store to department store, and now and you get all your Christmas gifts or holiday gifts on Amazon. It's kind of like that. Like it's like one-stop shopping in terms of ROI. So you're going to see the people that you want to do business with and the partners that you want to partner with. Or if you're trying to build your own personal brand, you're trying to look for, hey, what's my next step in my career or whatever? Those folks are there, right? So it's the connections, number one, the content, number two. We talked about a few of the highlights in content. We've got 14 different content tracks. We're operating 10 different content formats, not just panels, right? Not just presentations. We've got 10 different content formats alone across those 14 tracks. That kickoff day of content, we've got content, the ITCX meetup series. We've got all kinds of different flavors of content to suit whatever really your interest is. So that ROI is strong. You're going to learn a lot, and then you're going to hopefully just feel that experience of, oh my goodness, like insurance is sexy. We want ITC to be like CES of insurance. Like, wow, this is so cool. Like I saw really interesting things in the expo hall. I learned, I discovered new innovations. So we're really excited about all that we have to offer. And we think the ROI, I'll tell you, if you don't think that you got the value from your ticket, then reach out to me.
We just heard it.
We can make it insurance sexy, but less risky.
Right. If the data that we're going to provide you from Sonar and the app, like literally, I'd be floored if folks said, oh, I spent X dollars and didn't get anything out of it. If you have the meetings and if you experience the content and if you talk to the people, both, formally and informally, there are 60 events that are happening outside of just ITC, like at ITC, right? Other partners and whatever. There's 60 events happening in the evening and whatever. There's all kinds of things happening. It's Vegas. It's Mandalay Bay. You're going to have a tremendous time, see some tremendous people, learn some tremendous things.
Bill, before going into Lisa, just to let you know, I'm already getting some emails asking me about what the party is going to look like, and I know which party I'm going to go. Just to let you know, so I definitely need the list.
Yeah, I'm trying to get myself into a couple of the events too. I mean, there's some spectacular things happening that our partners put together, and it just makes the experience, again, being there. It's like nothing else I've been to in a conference, really.
Well, Sabine, are we ready to move on into the future?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I will amplify that. That's a great reason to get your ticket now. The dance card, as they call it, needs to fill up quickly, and to maximize that ROI, you really need to be showing up in the app, showing up in the database. You need to be somebody that people are seeking to find and that you're seeking to find others. So that'll be a little bit of my yes, you can show up last minute, but you get so much more out of it if you register and you get in the database and you become part of the organic nature. I mean, I got invited to one of the best events of my entire career, maybe back in 2018, Bill, and it was at ITC. It was a small dinner. I got to meet the author of Moneyball, and it was because I was in that database, right? Like I was sought after. I didn't do anything, so I just will amplify that. So for those of you who maybe haven't, or you're sitting on the fence and you're trying to make everything align, we all get it, Halloween and family and corporate obligations and all the things, click now. Which brings me to my questions for you, Bill. As we round the corner, you know, I started probably going to ITC not 8 years ago, because I think I missed the first year or two, but I've been going for a while. You know, where do you see InsureTech Connect 5 years from now? Like, what's your future vision? Like, what's the metamorphosis that we'll expect to see over the years?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. First I'll just say, to double down on what you just said, Lisa, like, you have to plan your journey at ITC. And part of planning that journey is like getting in the app, setting up your profile and all that good stuff, saying what you're interested in so people can find you. Also scheduling your time, like, you know, mark down things that you want to do and schedule some unstructured time, because I tell you, your schedule, you'll just have that serendipitous kind of connection with people, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, you know, really want to do some other things. So schedule time, schedule unstructured time also. But in 5 years, even this year, you know, ITC's grown, like we said, tremendously. We've had this hockey stick growth. And what we're really focused on doing in terms of the experience is making the event feel smaller, helping you find your tribe, to your point, Lisa, about, you know, like registering the app, helping you find your flock so that you can navigate it better and easier, because it's a massive space. Mandalay Bay Casino is really large, right? And you have to be able to navigate not only the space, but all the things that are happening at ITC. So what we're trying to do is focus on how do we shrink the event a little bit so that claims people can find claims people, life and health people can find life and health people, folks that are interested in cyber or AI or what have you can find each other, you know, connect to each other. So we're looking, as we evolve in the next 3 to 5 years, at having, you know, essentially events within an event. It's kind of like that, you know, Broker Tech Connect. We did that. We did Group Tech Connect. Those types of things have really helped us, and we get just great feedback from, you know, our surveys and our conversations with folks. So we're going to really, you know, emphasize that strategy, because the event is so big, and there are other things that we can kind of bring in to the event without giving out too much of our secret sauce strategy here. We're trying to shrink the event to make it a little bit more just palatable.
Curated. Yeah. And you know, you're so right, Bill. That it's like being a little bit, and I'll use Disney World as an example, right? Like what Disney does really well is it is like magical. It's Christmas. And I remember hearing a female COO of Disney once, and she said, the most difficult part of being the COO of Disney, and I'm hearing you say this basically, is making magic happen for every person in every moment. Because, right, and so I'm hearing this in your future vision, which is that hyper personalization within something that's scaled, which kind of brings me to my next, question on the inquiry, which would be, brace yourself for it. No, I'm joking. So clearly with DIA and some of the expansion, globally, what are you thinking in terms of, clearly, with Asia and other things, but are you thinking of anything else in Europe, more global events, maybe London? Are we going to see a little James Bond action coming from ITC? Like where are you thinking next?
Yeah,
if you can tell us.
Yeah, all those things are being considered this year. The spring we launched ITC LATAM. We had it in Miami. It was great. We bring that LATAM experience to Vegas because we had such a fantastic response from the Latin American audience. So we're like, hey, let's continue to build that. So absolutely, we're looking for global expansion. We're looking for essentially product line expansion as well. So it's all being looked at. There are a lot of different things that we've considered geographically. So it's kind of the hub and spoke model, like where Vegas is the hub and all these other spokes come together. So we're looking at that kind of model and how to expand that and how to also capture the attention. We have a great event for 3 days of the year, right? There's a lot happening the rest of the year. So what else can ITC as the market leader in this event space for InsureTech and insurance innovation, what else can we do during the year to keep our audience engaged?
Bill, as you are mentioning this, I want just to share two stories. I've done some work with Salesforce and IBM, as you know, and I learned a lot from Formula One, example with Salesforce and IBM Wimbledon, because they build fan base, fun experiences. And I think there's a lot to learn around the fan experience, because you just mentioned ITC Vegas is only 3 days in the year, but you want a relationship the whole year round. So how are you going to do that?
Yeah,
absolutely. That's a
and just to connect Sabine to that, the Formula One and Bill, my first year at Vegas, the year that I got to do that private dinner, I met I think NTT Data that year they had literally a Formula One car in the showroom, and then they had the driver. I still have my picture with them because I was like, this is so cool. I mean, because again, it was about that experience being like, clearly we're data people in insurance, and I think showing the correlation between things like big data, like you say, Sabine, at like Wimbledon, and all these, the NBA, coincidentally, the chief operating officer of the NBA comes from an actuarial insurance background. So like we make data run. So I think that's really like connecting all those dots there, Sabine. I was like, oh yes, I remember. And I always say, and it started at Vegas, right? So like, Bill, thank you for giving us all these memories and experiences. I'm going to try to get to my next couple of questions real fast. I know I could talk to you all day, Bill, as I often try to. But the next one I would just like to ask you, clearly the three of us focus on sustainability, and we focus on bringing Horizon 2 and Horizon 3 sustainability concepts back to today into Horizon 1, and then breaking that down both conceptually and tangibly so that people can see that. How is Vegas focused on sustainability as one of its core pillars?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. Like, we look at it from a variety of areas, right? Content, we rely on folks like you and Sabine and Matt with your content on sustainability. We try to shine a light on sustainability and climate. You'll see our show branding will have kind of that climate theme this year, as well as, that's part of the reason why we got our musical act, right? Ties in with the elements, earth, wind, fire, earth, air, fire, water, that kind of thing. So, but we look at it from even, years back, like, hey, an event is a very consumable kind of thing. Obviously people are flying in from all over. So there's that carbon footprint of flying in. It's Vegas, it's hot, we're consuming a lot of water and coffee and what have you. So we've always had like a water bottle sponsor. We encourage people to use, water use your own bottle, bring your own bottle. We'll have our water bottles there as well. Carpet, like, the floor, if you noticed last year, you saw a lot more concrete last year. That was very intentional from our perspective. Why are we going to carpet the entire floor and just roll it up and throw it out? So we're using fewer materials, more sustainable practices. Wow. We're looking at it. Even our partners at Mandalay Bay MGM are looking at most of their food and produce is locally sourced. Nice. So it's those types of things that we're very conscious with, bringing 10,000 people into this area for 3 days and making sure that we reduce the carbon footprint as much as we possibly can. And we're corporate stewards. We're being good corporate stewards of the space and of the earth. So we take at Clarion, we take that very seriously. And we're trying
really shows that level of depth that has to go into it, right, Bill? And I appreciate that. It's not just about drawing a crowd and increasing tickets. It's about balancing that with where's the food coming from, how is the water being consumed, the energy, all these things. I think I read something yesterday about every time somebody is querying something in Chat GPT, the amount of water that's being consumed in the earth to power those queries. So we're all starting to think about sustainability, and clearly we want and expect the lifestyles that we have, but we want to do those in responsible ways. So it's nice for people to know that if they are with a corporate or with an organization and they're also focused on, should I be going? Should I be flying? Should I be doing these things? It's nice to know that the organization is thinking of those offsets, thinking of that sustainability underneath. So I'll just like amplify that again for people like on the fence about whether or not to come. And then, of course, Bill, I have to ask you 2 more quick questions. One is, okay, you talked about Gary Vee. Sabine and I have already been talking about him a little bit on the Enquiry, but are there, and he to me, like, I'm gonna like be front row, like all there. Is there anybody else that's like, and I know you have so many, you've already given us such great highlights, like I'm sure you could go on for days, but is there anyone that you would just be like, if I'm not in front row for that, I will like never regret it? Other than Gary.
Yeah, again, I think the
Put you on
premiere
the
of
spot,
Bermuda
you can only pick
23.
one.
Oh, the Bermuda, yeah. I think that would be cool. Yeah.
That's so hard.
It's hard, huh? 14 track. Gosh.
I'll tell you.
Maybe we could have like you know, like the Disney does the Magic Genie. Maybe we could have like a Bill says not to miss this in the next hour. We could have a flash on the app.
There's one just on the ESG side, investing in a net zero future. It's the role of ESG and insurance in supporting a low carbon economy. That's gonna be cool. That's Andrew Lerner, who's the head of IA Capital. He's been a supporter and been in ITC since the very beginning. Jonathan Soberg from MS&AD Ventures. It's basically a bunch of VCs and CVCs. Carson Middledorf from Allianz X, Debbie Brackeen from CSAA, and James Orchard from QBE Ventures. I think that's going to be one of the sleeper fantastic sessions. So I'll give that one.
Yeah,
I'll give that one.
I like that one. Okay, so what's the call to action to hit the registered now button, Bill?
Hit the register.
Let's go.
$15.95 ITC 101 for new registrations. That's a great deal. Right now, the rate is $21.95, so you're getting $600 off.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bill.
Yeah, register.
That's awesome. So on that note, I want to say thank you. That was an awesome session, Bill. We got so much. I'm sure it's going to be the go-to to get ready for ITC. Let's not forget, we don't need an umbrella, right? Like in London, but we definitely need the running shoes.
No. Bring layers, though. It might be, it's that shoulder season in Vegas. It may be hot, it may be cold, but
And maybe a beach dress for women, but we are going to be dancing on the Mandalay Bay beach. So make sure you have the right attire. Matt, Lisa, anything else for Bill?
No, not for me. So. I know we're excited to see you as always.
We're thrilled. It's going to be a fantastic show. Thank you all so much for your time and giving me this platform. But we are so excited. This show is going to be just absolutely epic. And we can't wait to see all of you at ITC.
Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Lisa.
Yes.
Pleasure.
Bye for now.
Nice to see you. Take care. Bye-bye.